So I'm here, I'm shooting another video. I was just hoping that I could shoot it really fast before I head on out to my cycle class, which is in about 30 minutes. So today's topic that I wanted to talk about really quickly was about paying for travel. So as you know, I have been able, since the beginning of my debt journey, I've been able to travel almost every single year except for the year of the pandemic. So I traveled in 2018, where we had, kind of talking about the idea of paying off debt. 2019, I did get to travel. 2020, of course, I wasn't able to go anywhere. 2021, and now we're in 2022, and I just came back from a trip. So I'm gonna tell you how I was able to make that happen. I guess 2022 doesn't count because I'm debt free, but it was basically the same method, and so I would like to talk to you guys about it. First things first, remember about your fixed expenses, your variable expenses. We've talked about cutting back, and now these are big expenses. Traveling, I budget for about, say $2,000, including airfare, and then a hotel stay or Airbnb, and then, or even lodging at somebody's, and then finally your food and anything else that you're gonna do. Now, mind you, traveling for me is not necessarily vacation. So I'm not breaking one of the Dave Ramsey 7 baby step rules where people are going on vacation while they're paying off debt. I wasn't necessarily doing that. There are times where you could actually, while paying off debt, go on vacation and travel, but it needs to be very strategic. The reason why I had to travel was because my family lives in different countries. Some of my siblings are living in England, and then my parents live in Ghana. And so I, of course, have to take trips once in a while. So what did I do in order to make these things happen? First, I would recommend that you bring in a secondary income. Try and bring in income that does not touch your primary means of paying off debt. So if you have to sell stuff, if you have to find different ways of making money, try and do that in order to be able to pay for the trip. And that way you see how much money you have, and you will plan your trip accordingly. But the second thing would be to create a sinking fund. If you can create a separate bank account and deposit money at specific times of the year, then in order to grow the fund, I think it's in one of the Dave Ramsey books, I'm not sure, but you have to create a sinking fund in order to prepare for the trip. And you should start it way ahead of time. If you don't have that kind of sudden cut cash flow, I would highly recommend that you deposit money as frequently as possible in your sinking fund, which is separate from your main fund. Travel light and cheap. And what do I mean by that? So traveling light and cheap would mean that whenever you're traveling to wherever you're supposed to go, in my case, to see my family, I am not going to book expensive hotels. I am not going to book expensive Airbnbs. I'm going to be staying with family, so I'm not going to bring my entire life with me. I would recommend that you at least pack only one suitcase. A lot of airlines these days, even the good ones, they have economy class tickets. Or you can book for the basic economy less than that. Maybe for international travel, a lot of them are coming in below $1,000. You can use that to go on your trips, but you can only carry one check-in luggage. So if anyone is asking you to bring stuff, well, you're gonna have to tell them that it's not gonna be possible because you have only one check-in luggage. Pack very light, knowing that you could do laundry over and over whenever you are in that place that you're traveling to. Be prepared to eat more local food instead of either eating out. You should be prepared to cook. So when I visit my sister in England, I'm more prepared to not eat out, but I'm more prepared to stay in and cook. And that makes things very easy and very cost effective. The third thing I would recommend, and I really insist on, is paying cash. So you need to pay cash. And I know the temptation is to use your credit card or something like that to pay for your trip. in order to get points or whatever. But no, save in cash so you can deposit it and then pay cash for the entire trip. That way, if it's not a super necessary trip, you will put it off. But if it is, I think that if you've made up your mind and budgeted for the fact that, okay, I'm going to these places to visit my family once a year, which I think is very important, you should plan that ahead. You should budget that out. Budget it from as far as the previous year, so you know that, okay, I'm not gonna go, if I can't go every year, I'm going every other year. You let your family know that, and then you plan accordingly. And here's one thing which I personally think is a sacrifice, especially if you're going to travel cheaply or affordably. It's going to be to travel individually. So say you're paying off debt and you need to travel back home to see your family. Now, if you're like me and have kind of made that personal promise to stay in connection, physical connection with your family, or you're dealing with extreme homesickness, you're gonna have to go on your own. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, I do agree that sometimes it can be lonesome, but you have to be able to make that personal sacrifice until you reach your goal. Yes, it's unfortunate that maybe your significant other could not come with you, or maybe your children could not come with you, but that is the sacrifice that you're going to make, right? Until you reach your goal. Now, when you reach your goal and you've been able to pay off all your debt, right? Then, go all out. Take the kids with you. Of course, you're going to use the same method. You're going to use the same method to plan your trips with the entire family. So these are my tips. I hope it helped. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Bye.